Hi, I'm Angela H. Brown. I am the Executive Director for Craft Lake City, and thank you so much for being here tonight. This is our last session where we discuss your questions for building your own gallery using the Spoke platform for hubs. I'm really excited to introduce you all to our board member, Sarah Emily Nelson, who is also the chair of our virtual gallery committee and is joining me here tonight. And together, the two of us are going to work together to troubleshoot any questions that you have. I do need to let you know in advance that we have a team of developers that have been helping us throughout this process. Many of you may have received some emails from them, as well as a few other board members that have also learned the program and become expert advisors on Spoke and Hubs. Unfortunately, with people's schedules tonight, there were some conflicts that came up, so it is just myself and Sarah on the call. However, I'm confident that if we cannot answer your question right this very second, we can get you an answer in a timely manner. So thank you again for being here today. So now with the format of tonight's session, we are going to kind of keep it a little casual and a little open and, really just kind of tackle some questions that you might be having, hearing kind of some issues that you might be experiencing and see what we can't do to help guide you through it. If you notice on the top right, there is a chat icon where you can post your questions. I think what might be nice is if we can have if maybe one person start with a question, and once you kind of post your question, we could call on you to remove your microphone mute, and we could kind of start a kind of quick conversation there and see if we can't get your question answered. Does someone want to go ahead and post their question in the chat? We'll just kind of wait a moment or two and see if anyone has a question to post. If they don't, I might get a little crazy and start calling on a few people and see see if you've got a question you want to talk about. Normally at this time, we would be working on crafting our booth spaces by hand. We'd be figuring out how to display our artwork in an in-person manner, really working on kind of face-to-face interaction with our customers and, thinking about how our customers would see our product in the real world. Of course, with the pandemic, it offers the opportunity for us to reimagine our space and, of course, look at new and creative and fun ways to engage using technology and also to sell our work and present our work. So I would like to just congratulate all of you for making it this far to the point where we actually, you're learning a new computer skill, you're learning new talents, and you're here with us today. So I noticed that we've got actually one of our Kid Row artisans, Beatrice, that has asked the first question. Can we change the color of the walls of our virtual galleries? So yes, Beatrice, you can change the color of the walls of your galleries. And in fact, I actually know a pretty good hack to do that. So if you were in the Spoke program and you probably determined that it was pretty easy to kind of look at changing the textures of your program. You could change the wall texture from, I think we have what's called currently concrete, and if I'm not mistaken, and you could probably change it to like a cobblestone or a different texture. In order to change colors of your gallery walls, what we recommend is to import in actually a color of that image. So just like you imported in your image of your product, you would probably use in a Photoshop program or something like that. You would create an image of that color that you wanted to use and place that on the wall. And that is a kind of one way that you can kind of change the color of your gallery walls. Sarah, do you have any ideas for another way that you could change the color of your gallery walls?
No, that's a new one to me. I haven't heard of that. that workaround, that's an awesome solution for being able to not be just limited to the textures in the customizing your gallery. So that's great.
Awesome. Beatrice, did that answer your question? And Beatrice, if you'd like, you could turn off your mic or turn on your microphone. Okay, great. No problem. I understand that sometimes our mics don't always work, but I'm so glad that answered your question. Fantastic. It looks like we have another question in the chat from Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Is there a limit to how many photos or items we can put in a gallery? Great question. There is actually no limit to how many photos or items you can put in the gallery, with this one exception. So you may have noticed in the actual, when you're exporting your gallery from Spoke into Hubs, you do that pre-flight checklist. And that pre-flight checklist comes up and has the colors, you know, it has the yellow and the green, and it might have a red. So you do not want to have any red when you export. You want to stick to those kind of green and yellow in all of those. I think there's 4 or 5 different areas. And so if you can add your images in there, and we suggest using, you know, a 72 DPI, which is, or a low resolution image. Obviously you don't want it to be so low resolution that you can't actually, or that you see pixels, right? But you can still do a low resolution. We recommend actually a PNG as opposed to a JPEG, because a PNG does have it's a smaller file size. So as long as you are using images in there that aren't, you know, print quality and things like that, your file size should remain relatively small. And we actually do have a recommended file size listed in the how-to guide, as well as in the tutorial videos that will kind of go over the export process. So if you are in the clear with your green and yellow in those categories, you should be fine. Sarah, did you want to elaborate on answering that question at all?
No, I think that covers it. Thanks, Angela.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, excellent. Maggie, did that answer your question for you?
Yes, it did.
Fantastic, thank you. Thanks for being here tonight. It's good to see you. Okay, cool. So let's go on to the next question, which is Kelly. I have been trying to orient my spawn point so that when people join, they are looking toward the gallery. Is there a way to check this out other than publishing and testing? So Kelly, fantastic question. So as you all probably know, the spawn point is actually where the attendees will be entering your gallery. And you can move that orientation point. Of course, we've set it up in your virtual gallery, so when they come in, they kind of can see the next room, and they see what, according to our template, the bio and like the establishing image, either the logo of your company or a photo of you. But yes, you can change that spawn point so it's anywhere in your gallery. So again, that question is, I've been trying to orient my spawn point so that when people join, they are looking towards the gallery. Is there a way to check this out other than publishing and testing? You know, I'm going to say that is the way that I would do it, would be moving it around and publishing and testing. However, I bet there probably is a quicker way to do that. I'm personally not sure on a quick way to do that. Sarah, do you have ideas about that?
Nope, that's exactly what I would do as well, is publish and test. But if you're just publishing, I mean, I think the one good thing is that if you're publishing, you can just refresh, you know, in Hubs, and it should be pretty quick. If that's all you've changed, the publish should be pretty quick. So it should be pretty fast to test it that way.
However, Kelly, what we can do is we can take this question to our dev team when they log in tomorrow morning and see if they have a better answer. And if they do, Kelly, would you mind just typing your email address here in the chat, just so we have easy access to that? But I will make sure they see this first thing. And if they are like, oh yeah, this is what you do, because they might have a quicker hack. One thing you could also do is Hubs does have what's called a Discord page. Discord is kind of like a communication page. Some people might be familiar with a program called Slack. It's sort of like a Slack. It's like a messaging page for where you can talk about different groups. Kelly, have you had a chance to go on and like look at that Discord page on Hubs? There might be, if you do have a moment, I know that this is like a really busy time for everyone, but you could go on there tonight and actually type in that question too and see if anyone in the community has an answer for you. The other thing that I would do is probably, from what I understand, Hubs also has some really great kind of like Q&A pages. I would maybe like Google, Spawn Point with Hubs or with Spoke, and also see what you can kind of find on their pages in regards to Spawn Point, because they might actually have an answer for you better than this. But honestly, Kelly, this is exactly what I would do. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer than that. Let's see, did that answer your question, Kelly? Fantastic. It looks like there's another one that says, people who have been helping me test cannot activate links on mobile. How do they deal with that? So let me make sure that I understand your question. Is your question that you've been testing your Hubs link with some of your friends or family, and when you do that, when they're in your virtual gallery, they click on your link to like your store and it doesn't pull up? Oh, I think you're on mute. Do you want to unmute yourself for a second?
They can't get it to click, and I'm just wondering, is it? I didn't change the size from what the template had. Is this just too small to do on a small phone?
That's a great question. From our testing, it should still work. What we found is that if you have on your phone enabled pop-ups, then it works. But if you've told your phone, like through your internet browser on your phone, not to allow for pop-ups, then sometimes it will not work. So I would, I would try that. And we are actually working, we're doing our own internal testing because we want to try and outline some of these items for the public. So when the public is trying to experience this, if they're like, how come this doesn't work? We're hoping to get a pretty thorough FAQ together that will kind of go over some of these items, because we don't want that to be a point of frustration. We want everyone to have a great experience, but with tech, there's all these really great preferences we can all do. And so sometimes they might hinder the way that it's working. So that is what we found. So if I would actually love to hear back from you, Kelly, if that's something that you and your friends have time to troubleshoot again and see if, if they can disable allow the pop-up and see if that fixed that problem with that specific phone. I would love to hear about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And did that answer your second question?
Yes, it did.
Okay, great. Just while we're talking about that, that prompted me to think about something else, which was a conversation we had with another individual the other day that was doing some testing, and they were having the issue where they were having someone click on the link to their gallery, and it would redirect them from Hubs to the gallery. And so what we were seeing with that is on mobile, right? That sometimes when you click on an external link, it will actually open up like another window in your browser and take you to that. And so then you have to go back to your previous window on your phone, on your browser, to get back to Hubs. And so sometimes that can be a little confusing as well. Obviously, you can work through this program on mobile, but for the best user experience, we actually do recommend a computer. We do understand not everyone has that, but on a computer screen, you have just a little bit more control over the actual browser in the screen. And what I like to do is have a window open where I can be like looking at someone's merchandise and have my other window open where I can talk to them, through Hubs. And so I found that seems to work really well, because then you can kind of see everything, versus on the phone, you can only see one window at a time.
I agree totally, but you can't control the customer if they're on a phone. I want to be able to tell them what's going on.
I agree with you 100%, Kelly, and I love that you're looking for that information so you can make it seamless for your customer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah, would you like to comment on anything there?
No, I totally agree. I think I think most people, we do have to consider people who will be using mobile. I think that will be, a fair number of people. So it's great to bring surface these kinds of issues so that we can be aware of those and make sure that all of our participants get the best experience they can.
Exactly. And, we want people to be able to be out and about. If someone is camping that weekend and has cell service and wants to attend the festival, like, we want them to be able to just pull out their phone and come out and support all of the great local artisans such as yourselves and make those purchases. So, and we want, of course, to have literature on the site that can tell them the best way to do that and to educate you all as well. So you tell your customer if they're having an issue. Fantastic. Let's see. It looks like we've got, thanks, Kelly. We've got another question for Laura. Can we get rid of the lobby? Yes. If you don't like that lobby in your virtual gallery, you want to get rid of that, you can do that. However, I would advise that if you're going to get rid of it, you have a plan. You'll want to move your spawn point. And of course, you'll just want to make sure that your gallery isn't left without any missing, like, walls or floors or things like that. Sarah, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I guess the one component that is also in that lobby is are the exits. And so you might want to be able to make sure that you're accounting for that so that people are able to leave your gallery and go visit other galleries.
Yes, so thank you, Sarah. So you'll notice that in the template that we gave you, there were these 2 red doors with an exit sign above them. And you may have clicked on the links to see where they go. Those links will actually be replaced by our dev team when you submit your galleries, which is another reason why we need them submitted so early, is because there's all these stitching we have to do between these individual galleries and our website, and then, of course, testing. And so with those exits, one of them will go to what we're calling our lobby area, and the other will go to the homepage. So just kind of a little preview about how the navigation of virtualdiyfestival.com is going to work is there will actually be 2 ways to enter your gallery. There will be one that will be entering through a VR interface, which will be a really fun experience that you'll actually walk into a building lobby, just like you would in the in-person DIY festival, but this one will have a lot of fun, whimsical, great things to look at. There will be a list of artisans that you can go visit, which one of them will be you. Then they can click on that and enter inside of your gallery. So when they exit, they might want to exit back into that lobby so they can continue to look at all of the other exhibitors in that building. However, they may know exactly who they want to see next, and they may not know where that artisan is, so they can exit to the homepage, and the homepage will then take them to an area where they could look up the artist's name alphabetically by their business or their first name, however you filled out your application, your exhibitor name. So that's where those 2 doors go. And so if you are removing your lobby, as Sarah so smartly reminded us, we want to make sure that we keep those exit doors in there, because you'll want a place for people to be able to leave your gallery if they need to. Great. Did that answer your question, Lara? And I apologize if I'm not calling people by their correct names as well. I'm calling you by how you're showing up on our screen. Excellent, great. Thank you so much, Lara, for the great question. Okay, great. So Maggie, another question. Are we no longer allowed to alter our galleries after tomorrow, add additional items for sale, for example? Great question, Maggie. So let me talk about how we kind of visualize the galleries working and changes thereof. So we anticipate that these galleries are really just a place for you to have a conversation, but yes, also a place for people to kind of get an idea about the artwork that you're selling, to become attracted to what you make, what you create, and who you are. And they're also an expression of you as an individual and a creative. However, remember, we have all of those links going to your web store. So we want people to actually go to your web store to do all the purchasing. And kind of what I mentioned earlier, why a computer is so great, because you can literally be in someone's someone's virtual gallery, and then also see all of the items for sale in their web store. So your web store, you've already provided us with that URL if we're building your gallery, or if you're creating your gallery, you want your web store URL linked inside of your gallery. And your gallery is where you want to make your last minute change, or pardon me, your web store is where you're going to want to make your last minute changes, not your gallery. And the reason being is because, as you know, going through this process, working through the Spoke editing software, if you want to switch an image, you have to go all the way back out to Spoke, switch the image, export it, reload it. And when you do that, so we actually, again, have to get hundreds of these galleries together and stitch them to our framework, and that takes a lot of time to do. And so that's why we need your galleries finished and done by the end of the 22nd tomorrow. And unfortunately, you will not be able to make any more changes after that date. And again, it's just because of that labor-intensive process. Hopefully in the future, they'll be able to come up with some sort of more cloud-based software that is in real time, that does not have to be exported and imported. But as of right now, that's the platform that we're using. And this platform is actually less than a year old. So this is pretty state-of-the-art technology that you're all learning. So again, this is something you should be very proud of, is the fact that you're here today and you've made it this far. That's a huge accomplishment for learning this much in a short amount of time. So again, I would think about it this way. Your virtual gallery is, again, where you're going to be communicating, talking with people through your avatars, and your web store is where you want people pulling up to make your sale. Great. Did that answer your question, Maggie?
Yes, it did.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Cool. And again, with that web store, you can make changes during the festival in that web store. If you sell out of an item and want to put up another item, yeah, you can do that while you're hanging out in your gallery in another window if you're on a computer, right? So you can update your web store as much as you want, just not your virtual gallery. All right, Kelly, or actually, Sarah, did you want to remark on that at all?
Nope, that sounds great. Sounds like you covered everything.
Thank you. Okay, let's talk to, let's see, I'm losing my spot here. Kelly. Okay, oh yeah, you posted your email, thank you. So we can get back to you about your question. Thank you. Okay, Beatrice, I am also having trouble moving my spawn around in the gallery. I have tried using the WASD keys, the WASD keys, and the arrows, but neither works. Is there a better way to do that? Oh man, I'm sure there is a better way to do that. Do you know, Sarah?
Let me just make sure I understand the question, Beatrice. So your spawn point is kind of an object like anything else, like an image or a wall or anything like that. So moving your actual spawn point, which is what you would want to do if you would want your customers to enter the gallery in a different place, you would move that around like you would move any other object. To move yourself around, just so that you can navigate inside Spoke and move around in the gallery, that's what you would use the WASD and the arrow keys for. So if you're trying to move the actual spawn point, where you want people to show up, you would either use that red arrow or use the properties to transform the position, rotation, scale. That's how you would move that spawn point. The WASD keys and arrows keys are just to help yourself navigate so you can move around the space. Okay. Does that more answer your question? Is that getting at it?
The WASD doesn't work for me. Maybe it's a problem with my computer. I think it probably should work for you. Let's see, I did post this. We actually made, Beatrice, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to see them because we just released them like late last week, but we made a series of instructional videos. And I just posted video, I think it's number 3, called Reposition Objects. It's right above your last comment at the bottom of the chat. Have you had a chance to look at those videos? I'm wondering if this specific one might help with your question.
and one more thing I just wanted to add, to move around your gallery in Spoke is a little bit different from moving around in the hubs. With the WASD keys, you need to click that left button hold down that left button while you're using the WASD keys in Spoke, which you don't have to do in hubs.
Oh, Sarah, I bet you that's it. Would you repeat that one more time? Because you're right, in Spoke it's different with the WASD key.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's left because I'm on a Mac. It actually, it's just the one same click, but I'm pretty sure it is the left click on a regular mouse that you have to hold down and press the WASD keys at the same time in order to navigate around your gallery in Spoke. Just check here. Yeah, I think it is the right. That's what I'm doing here. Great. Looks like Beatrice, you're going to try that out, and hopefully that will solve your issue.
Fantastic. And Beatrice, if it doesn't solve your issue, you watch that video too and let us know, and we'd be happy to see what else we can do to support you. Thanks for your question. Okay, cool. So now we're looking at, a teleporting question. Jessica, are you going to be turning off the option to teleport as a control? I have found myself getting stuck behind walls when using this feature, and I saw it as an option to turn off, but wasn't sure if I would have this power once the room was published. So this is such a great question, because I was actually literally having this conversation with one of our developers yesterday, and we were trying to decide if we wanted to turn it on or off, because the way that he's designing one of the experiences, he wanted to put like a secret spot where you could teleport to, and but I think we decided against that. So I think we, you know, that is something that we're kind of talking about, is turning it off. Would you personally like to see us turn that off, Jessica? Do you feel like that would help with navigation? Yes. Okay, great. I will make that recommendation to our developers. Thank you for that. All right. So let's move on to the next one, which is Kelly. In iPhone, it doesn't like it much. You could add a JPEG picture of your web store to have people enter it manually. Okay, cool. So Jeannie, that is a comment toward Kelly. Great. So Kelly, iPhone, it doesn't like it much. You could add a JPEG picture of your web store to have people enter it manually. Does that comment make sense to you, Kelly?
Yes, it does. I think it's a helpful thing to know.
Thank you. Thank you for that solution, Jeannie. Jeannie, is there anything else that you would like to mention to Kelly? Do we have Jeannie here? Is Jeannie still here?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find my mic button. No, I think we're good. Kelly and I spoke a little bit more down the chat, so you'll see that.
Thank you, Jeannie.
You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, Lara. Lara said yes. Okay, cool. That was for the earlier thing. Okay. Excellent. And then it looks like Kelly, you responded back to Jeannie. Love it. Love these conversations going. Cool. You guys were talking to each other. Got that. Okay, resolved that. Any other thing that you guys want to talk about before we move on to Mike's question? Okay, great. So let's go on to Mike. Were we supposed to create a separate web store to link to the gallery? Or is it our own already made web store link okay to use? Great question, Mike. So yes, if you already have an existing web store, let's use that. You know, just make sure that you have your product updated in that, right? But yes, you do not have to recreate a brand new web store. Of course, we suggest that if you're looking for a web store service or platform to use, that you use one of our sponsors, which is Big Cartel. They are a local company. They're actually who we use for our web store to sell our Graphic City merchandise. But of course, if you already have an Etsy, a Shopify, if you have it built into your website, or if you have it through Square, or there's a lot out there. Yeah, go ahead and use your existing. You do not have to set up anything new. Cool. Did that answer your question, Mike? Fantastic. Okay, let's see. Juan, will customers only be able to see our gallery on a assigned date? My daughter is doing the Kid Row. Oh, fantastic, fantastic question. So this is, and we're so happy to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being part of Kid Row. Yeah, it's going to be a great year. So how we are doing the, I think I mentioned earlier that there are 2 different ways that shoppers can be part of the festival. They can go through the virtual reality experience through that lobby, and then the lobby will then take you into the gallery itself. We actually have a separate building only for, it's actually a treehouse. It's so cute, you're gonna love it. It's a picture of a treehouse, and that's just for Kid Row. And so when you go in the Kid Row lobby, of course, there will be a fun experience through VR, and then of course the virtual galleries. However, if you want to, if that intimidates you and you do not want to do the VR experience whatsoever, we will have exhibitor profiles on the website as well, which will just be based on all of the information you submitted in your application. So it'll be the pictures of your product, your bio, and a link to your web store there. And so we actually will be having those live on the website. Let me ask you a question. Would you like to see those live on the website before Kid Row opens? We have Kid Row open from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. Would you like to see those web profiles accessible earlier than that?
Yeah, and reason being is because we have like friends from out of state who we've been telling about, and so they they just wanted to know, because they're like, if for whatever reason they can't go in and log in at because it'll be a different time zone also, so they just wanted to double check to see if they could also go in at different times. So.
Yes, and so to be clear, they can go on to to your web store and through our links and patronize your business at any time, but they will only be able to interact with you during that 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Saturday. And the reason being is just that we didn't want to have, of course, the kids have to be part of the festival all weekend long. We thought 2 hours was just enough. It kind of also sort of mimics our day programming in real life, which is just on Saturday. But the other thing is, we really want to make sure that we're keeping kids safe. And, we do have volunteers that are coming in an avatar form that will be checking in on all of you, especially in the Kid Row, and just making sure that, because this is going to be a really fun avatar to avatar environment. And of course, we want you as the parents to be there, with your child during the entire time to make sure that everything's safe on that end. So if your friend from out of state wants to interact with y'all, they just have to do it during that time. Otherwise, they can still go to your web store and patronize your business, providing that you're not sold out of your product, because you might get there a little too late.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan. And what was your daughter's name?
Anja.
Hi, I'm Angela. Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. We're so excited to have you. Excellent. Sarah, would you like to say anything else about that?
No, I think that covers it. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Fantastic. It's so nice to see parents so supportive of their young entrepreneurs. It's, the festival is a great way to learn how to become a business owner and handle money and all of those fantastic things that will help really perpetuate your child, move them forward. All right, so let's move on to Jeannie. Will a redirect web domain link work in the final draft? I have my paid domain redirecting to my Etsy store. Should I directly link to my Etsy store instead? let's see. Oh, okay. I think I understand what you're saying. So you have a redirect on your regular website that goes to your Etsy store. That should work. I mean, it's honestly, it's up to you. I think I would personally probably just eliminate the redirect and just use the Etsy store link to minimize load time. It's been in my experience that sometimes redirects can take a little bit longer to load. What's your advice on this, Sarah?
No, I think that's a really good point. I would ask, is there a reason why you would not want to redirect or sorry, link directly to the Etsy? Maybe you have some other information or you know, images or things that you want your customers to see on your site, in which case, yeah, it might make sense to just go to your site. But otherwise, I would agree, Angela, you know, if there's no other reason, then directly to the Etsy store might make sense.
I mean, I guess one reason I could see why you might want to do that is if you've already submitted your gallery and you're like, I'm done, but oh wait, I used the wrong URL and I want to do a redirect to kind of fix that so you don't have to go back in and like change that. That actually would be a good hack to solve that problem. But again, I would just suggest using the real link instead of the redirect because, you know, mobile, different people's computer speeds, you know, people get impatient if it's taking too long to load, they might bounce. I'm sure they probably won't. They're really going to want to see your product and purchase it, but load times can be an issue with redirects in my experience. Did that answer your question, Jeannie?
Yeah, in preview, I was seeing that the link wasn't working. It was kind of broken on when I do a test run. So that's why I was wondering.
Oh, let's see. Tell me more about that. So in preview, like when you're in hubs, right? Like after you've made it in Spoke and it's been in hubs, then your link is not working. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. It wouldn't give a preview.
Oh, it wouldn't give a preview. Okay, was that for the Etsy store or for your website?
Yeah, it wouldn't preview the store that I had my domain forwarding to.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, it's interesting. We actually have a developer researching that for one of our partners in our STEM building right now. They have a really robust, huge website with tons of content on it. And we were having a problem when we were building their gallery, getting their URL to preview. And so they were doing some research on that. Jeannie, if you don't mind, have you communicated with our team about that at all?
Not on that directly. I just basically decided to switch and do direct to my Etsy store.
Okay, and then did it work with that too?
It's working there.
Okay, awesome. And then how's your load time? Is it loading pretty quickly?
Yeah, it's loading much faster.
Oh, okay, cool. Then yeah, it's loading much faster. Perfect. Okay, cool. Well, then I think nice hack. Nice for teaching us a creative way to solve that problem, because my goodness, I wouldn't have even really thought of that. So that's great. Yeah, sounds like you fixed that, and we have seen that occasionally, but not very often.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Jeannie. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, cool. So Laura, I forget, is there a charge to visit the festival? No, there's not. So of course, normally there is. In a non-pandemic time period, there is a $7 admission charge per day for the festival, or $5 in advance. However, you know, this is the first time we've ever done this virtual festival. You know, we understand that it's a new environment for individuals. We want you to be successful. We want you to make as much money as you possibly can and to feel like you had a great experience. And we felt that the best way to do that would be to not charge the public at all, to make the barrier, essentially remove any barrier, and also make it available for anyone to attend. So there is no charge whatsoever. That being said, there is a paid experience you can buy, which is a VIP experience. So we are selling, and this is a way for the organization to generate some money, because as you know, These times are really different for all of us, and our budget is not at all what it was last year because we're not charging tickets for the festival. So, in order for the organization to kind of continue on, we're also having to get creative and come up with ways for us to generate income. So one ways that we're doing that is we're offering a limited edition VIP experience with Harman's, our presenting sponsor. So some of you may or may not remember from years past that we normally do a really cool VIP ticket with Harman's, where it gets you into this catered area with a lot of like free things that happen there. So we're doing a virtual version of that, and it's for $60 for the ticket. And you actually get a Harman's foodie box delivered to your house, or you can come pick it up. And then you get exclusive entry to the festival. So you get to enter the festival an hour before the public. And then you get all these fun other like different VIP experiences. In fact, we were talking earlier on the call about teleportation. One of the really fun experiences we're designing for the VIP ticket did involve that teleportation conversation. We're probably not going to use the teleport, but we thought we were thinking about it. So that is something, if for some reason you want to Craft Lake City and also get a really cool experience, you can do that. They also are going to be coming with some of these, which is a Google Cardboard. We actually just found out that Mozilla Hubs is compatible with Google Cardboard. So this is kind of a VR way of watching and participating in the festival. So that's cool. So they're also going to come with one of these too. So yeah, let's see the next question. Are we going to be able to use a custom avatar? Great question, Jessica. So we are making custom avatars for you. In some of our beta testing that Sarah and I did with some groups, we realized that once you get into a hub, if there's quite a few people, once you get into a virtual gallery, it's hard to tell who the artisan is, right? I mean, of course, we have our names above us, but it's sometimes if you get kind of close, maybe you can't read the name. And so we have actually created, we'll be sending you out instructions because you have to load it, but we are creating virtual avatars for you. However, that being said, if you want to spend your own time learning how to make your own avatar, and you can totally do that. However, I would just advise that you put your name or your branding on your avatar so people know that it's you. Because if you make this super cool avatar and people can't tell that you're the artist, they won't know who to come up and talk to and ask questions to. So make sure that you do. In fact, for instance, for the Craft Lake City volunteers, we will have volunteer avatars that are clearly labeled volunteer. We will clearly have avatars that are labeled, staff. And then of course we'll have them for you as exhibitors. But if you want to make your own, I say go for it. Just make sure your branding is on top of you. Okay, Lara, if I deleted a wall and replaced it with an image, is that a problem? So Lara, let me ask you a question in regard to your question. Have you tested it out in hubs? Let's see, is Lara still here? Let's see. Lara. Yes, Lara, have you had a chance to test it out in hubs?
I think she said nope in the chat there.
That would be nope.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Laura, my voice is a little deep. Sorry.
Thanks, Lara. So I would say if it tests in the hubs, if you export it and load it in hubs and it works fine, I say, yeah, that's fine. As long as, again, check your export, make sure you're still in those yellow and green. You don't want red. So if you export in yellow and green and load it into the hubs and then it works and you can walk through it just fine, I would think that would be okay. However, if you have accidentally deleted a wall and need help putting your wall back, we can do that for you. Just send us a polite email as soon as you possibly can, and we can put that wall back in for you. If that's something where you're just like frustrated, you're just like, yeah. Did that answer your question, Laura?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Excellent. You're welcome. And again, I would just test. If it works, then I think that would probably be okay. Sarah, what do you think about that? Do you agree with that, or do you think that would be a problem, actually?
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree with the testing. you know, in hubs, you're actually, the walls, you're not able to walk through them. In Spoke, you are. It's actually can be better for users, especially who aren't very familiar with the controls and get lost easily and get disoriented. It might be a negative experience to walk through that wall and not sort of be guided and bumped along so that they don't walk through it. So that's just something to keep in mind. But again, I totally agree, Angela. If you test it and it works well, and you know, you're thinking that will make the experience better, and it works fine for you, then absolutely. You know, another option is what Angela mentioned earlier, so that, you know, you can make sure that people aren't able to walk through and get disoriented. If you wanted to do that, then just put the image directly on a wall and then move the wall and the image around. That could be another option as well. But agree, you know, test it out and see what works for you.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so can you, from Kelly, can you remind me where the option to change the wall textures? I know it is elementary, but I lost it. I feel you, Kelly. Sarah, off the top of your head, do you remember exactly what that is called, where that area is called, where they change the wall textures?
Yeah, you'll just want to select in the hierarchy window, you know, that top right window, you'll just want to select the wall that you'd like to change the color on, and if you double click on it, it'll kind of bring you to that wall to see. You know, if you just double click on all the walls that are in there, if you're just using the template, it'll take you to those various walls. And then once you select that wall, if you look down into the menu that's on that same right side of the screen, but at the bottom, you'll see a drop-down menu next to wall material, and from there you can select various wall textures.
Sarah, do you have Spoke open by chance?
I do. You want me to share my screen?
Can you present that really quickly?
Sure.
Yeah. That might be really helpful. And while Sarah is getting that going, I'm also posting a link to customize your gallery, which is another video that we released a little bit late last week. So check that out too on your own time. That might be helpful.
All right. Are you able to see that okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, cool. All right, great. So if I, you know, I'm double clicking on this wall, and let me kind of go in so we can see it. So I'm here on this wall, and if I just come down here under this kit piece sub kit and change it to cement brushed, you'll see that it's changed the texture there. Bricks changes to bricks, so you're able to see. Select and then come down here and switch the menu. Excellent.
Thank you for that demo, Sarah. That was so helpful. And, you know, I just want to caution everyone, just be careful in the textures. It's so fun to go crazy at them, but they do increase your file size. So something to just kind of, you know, just pay attention to. Okay. So did that answer your question, Kelly?
Yes, but can you select all of the walls, or do you need to do it one by one?
That's a good question. I'm guessing that it has to be one by one. But, oh no,
Okay,
you can.
I tried to
select.
select. It'll do it with all of them.
Yeah, just hit the shift key and then select as many as you want.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Got it.
Love that shift trick, grouping with the shift. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, which is, Jeannie, will you guys be able to, be again double checking our final drafts to make sure everything is working? Yes, we will be. We will be feverishly checking all of them. However, that being said, do your best to do your best work. Please do not rely on us to fix something for you, just because we have a lot of work to do. We will fix it for you, but please do your best work. Or if you are just really, really frustrated and can't figure it out, let us know. We are here for you. We're here to support you. But try your hardest, because we believe in you and know that you got this. Okay. Awesome. All right. So Laura, is there already a link to the festival? What is it, so I can pass it along? Oh, thanks for asking. Yes, it is virtual. In fact, Sarah, do you mind throwing it in the chat? It's virtualdiyfestival.com. And you can actually sign up right now to receive festival notifications. In fact, I would ask all your friends to sign up right now, because we will be sending out kind of sneak peeks and like first information to that list. And there's also a pretty cool option where you can select to have it add the festival times to your calendar, which I love. So it will auto-populate, so that way when you're planning, your vacation, or your friends are planning their vacations, they know not to go on the DIY festival weekend. So yeah, sign up on that right now, and Sarah will throw that in the chat. Let's see, from Jessica, I would check to see if you can walk through. Okay, answering someone else's question. Thanks for that, Jessica. Rio, we have all our videos on YouTube, but they aren't loading. See, they are supposed to be on Vimeo now. Is that the only option, or is there a way to make YouTube work? Great question. So we've actually been testing with this too. In fact, it's really funny that we're talking about this, because I have a, is it still up? Oh, yes, I'll post it in the chat. I have a research tab open on my computer right now that I'll post in the chat that I've been intending to read but have not read yet, about this very issue. And so essentially, from what our developers are, the information they're telling me is that Hubs and Mozilla outright say, hey, YouTube is unsupported. It acts really suspiciously, like really strangely, like we can't guarantee it's going to work or not work. However, they have been able to stabilize the platform for Vimeo. So they recommend using Vimeo for Mozilla and not using YouTube at all. So we've also had to kind of look at pivoting on some of our items there. One thing to note is that if you are going to put a video link in your gallery, is that it also auto plays upon entering. So if you want to put 2 videos in your gallery or something like that, they're going to compete. They're both going to start playing as soon as someone spawns into your gallery. So you'll want to make sure that you're putting them in separate rooms if for some reason you're building a big gallery, which you can do. Or what I would recommend is one video. Or if you want to put one in the lobby and one in the gallery, that's fine. But just know with the conditional sound, you might be able to hear, the one in the lobby in the gallery room, and that might compete. It might be cause some like dysphoria, some disorientation for users. So they'll actually have to go and turn off that. But if you're hanging out in your gallery, you can monitor that, right? You can turn it on and off. So just kind of think about the sound and how that will affect your experience that you are offering in the gallery. Sarah, do you want to say anything about video?
Nothing from my own institutional knowledge, but it looks like you mentioned that you turn autoplay off. So potentially that's an option in Spoke where you can change that setting. I don't know. I haven't checked that myself, but Rio, you mentioned that. So potentially that won't be such an issue to have competing videos if you've turned autoplay off, which is a great way to solve for that.
Good. I'm glad you can turn that off. Yeah, we hadn't figured that out yet, but I'm glad you could do it. That's the fun thing about learning new programs, right? There's so much. You can go as deep as you really, really want. And again, since this program is still really fresh and really new, a lot of people still haven't, they are kind of figuring out with us and posting. So, check out what other people are saying. Of course, there's that Discord site too. So Rio, did that answer your question? Do you have any other follow-up questions in regards to that?
Looks like Rio did ask the question about other users being able to hear the sound when someone else plays the video. you're talking about in hubs, if you have customers in your gallery who are turning on and off videos, is that the question? Okay, yeah. Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think maybe you might know the answer better to this, that we'll be restricting those controls.
So it is something that they actually can do. Yes, so I think that's something to be mindful about, is they will be able to turn it on and off, unless actually unless you do a video without sound, which is something you could certainly do. But yes, otherwise they will be able to, you could be standing right next to the video and have someone turn it on and it might disrupt your conversation. But if you're standing across the gallery, maybe that won't be disruptive. Again, I would kind of run tests with it, but it's my understanding that you can't control that. Any other questions about that, Rio? Awesome, we're glad we could be of help. Okay, let's see. Okay, Kelly, can you select all the walls at once? Okay, cool, we went over that. Randy, for VIP customers, you mentioned they will be able to enter the festival 1 hour before the general public. On the CLC website currently, for example, the festival starts Friday evening at 6 p.m. Does that mean VIP customers will start artisan galleries at 5 p.m. on Friday? Great question. Yes, it does. And in fact, we have told you and will tell you again several times before the festival comes that we want you to report in your gallery at 5 o'clock. And that is for that kind of VIP hour for people to come through. We actually have a really cool VIP avatar that people will be using as well. So of course you'll know who the VIPs are. You know, we anticipate that the VIPs will be individuals that are big fans of the festival and big fans of supporting you all. And they will, you know, want to be coming to your site before anybody else is and get the inventory from you first. You know, get first pick on things, which is pretty exciting. Did that answer your question, Randy?
Yeah. And that's just Friday evening, though, right? That's just Friday from 5 to 6.
Thank you so much for clarifying. That's only Friday evening, not every single day, only Friday. And you know, it's kind of fun. We're trying new hours with the festival. This virtual environment, we can do hours that we can't do in person. For instance, you know, we're doing shorter hours, which is kind of nice, right? Like you don't have to be at the festival for 30 hours that weekend, but you can still have people purchasing through your galleries when you're not there. So that's kind of fun.
Thank you very much, Angela.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your support. Jessica, okay, cool. Hold shift, that was in response to another question. Laura, how can you group? Okay, we answered that one too. Okay, Rio, let's see. I'm from Make Salt Lake and we have mostly videos. I've turned off autoplay, but I'm not sure how we can switch over to Vimeo by tomorrow. Oh, okay, is Rio still on the call? Doesn't look like it. Well, I'm sorry, Rio. We can work with you, Rio. So, if any of you have, you know, again, we want this to be fun. We want this to be a positive experience. If for some reason you're really having a technical problem like what Rio was saying, and you're like, how am I going to do this? I imagine he probably logged off to get going on that project right now. Like give us an email. Let's talk about it. You know, we really can't give extensions to everyone, but you know, we want to make this again something that you're proud of, that you feel good, and we're happy to work with you and figure out a solution that works for you. Okay, Jessica, we will have the option to add a video once we enter. I was just not sure what powers we would have once you guys publish the gallery. Okay, Jessica, did we answer that question kind of in our conversation with Rio earlier? Okay, if we did not, let us know, but I'm going to assume we did.
I think she said she missed it in the chat here.
She missed it? Okay, cool. So your question was, will we have the option to add a video once we enter? I was just not sure what powers we would have once you guys publish the gallery. Okay, so you need to, any stuff that you want to enter your gallery into your gallery now, you have to enter before you submit your final drafts. Because once you submit your final draft, we cannot have you make any edits to your virtual gallery. Again, you can make edits to your web store, which is something that you control, right? But your virtual gallery, you'll then be getting to us to control, and you will not be able to make any edits to it. So if you want to put a video in there, put it in before you submit to us. Cool. Let me know if that answered your question.
Hey, Angela, I think we may have skipped a question from Laura D, and I don't know if she's still on the call, but how can you group items so that they can move all at once? Which was similar to the other question from Kelly. So yeah, just that shift key, and actually you can select items directly in the viewport. So, in the space, you can select those items and then select shift, and then, use either the arrow keys or the position properties, window to move stuff around, or you can select them in the hierarchy window. So I just wanted to make sure that got answered. I don't know if Laura's still on the call, but that one just got missed.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for making sure we didn't miss that question. That's a really great question that could save people some time. Instead of having to manually select, you can group. Excellent. Okay, cool. Laura D, does custom lighting slow things down? Yes, it does. Custom lighting is awesome, but I believe it does slow things down. The reason why I believe that is because I know it does increase your file size. So I would say it would be okay to use it in small amounts, but I would not personally go crazy, because the reason why we want to keep your file size down is because we're going with what Mozilla recommends for people to have successful experiences on mobile. Of course, we'd rather see people attending the festival on the desktop because we feel like they'll have a better experience. But we need to be flexible. We need to understand that a lot of people are on mobile, and a lot of people might want to attend that way, or that might be their only form of attending. Not all of us can afford a computer, and we might even share one mobile phone with several other people in our household. And so we need to make sure that we have that digital inclusion component in her, and we don't want to have a real clunky gallery that will slow people down. So that is why we want your file sizes to be smaller. So I would say it's okay if you play around with some custom lighting. Again, just be mindful on the export. With that export panel, with the yellow and greens that come up. Okay, Laura, did they answer your question? Okay, we're gonna move on to the next one. Jeannie, can we upload video to My Assets to build the gallery with, instead of a link outside? To My Assets. I'm trying to see if I understand that question. Sarah, can you help me with that? Can you maybe help me understand that? Or...
So if I understand correctly, I think similarly to images, which you can upload to Spoke, the question is, can you upload a video as well rather than just add the link? And I actually don't know the answer to that question definitively. I can quickly try it right now and see what I can find. Or we can, pass that one on to the devs and get back to you.
Yes, thank you for helping me understand the nature of that question. I totally understand it now. And I do not think you can, but we can certainly look at that. And the reason why I believe you probably can't is because video sizes are so much bigger than JPEGs and PNGs. So I wouldn't think that you can, but try it, experiment with it. Let us know what you find. And I can also ask our dev team about that, but I don't think you can. I think it's preferred to use a link. I would upload it to Vimeo instead.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And it looks like I am able to upload an MP4 video file. But yeah, I was just about to check to see what that does do to the file size. That might put you in the red for the file size. So probably the link is preferred based on just those file size limitations, but I'll confirm that here in a minute once I have this uploaded.
Awesome. And Sarah, when you're going to take us to that export panel to check the file size, will you present so we can kind of just go over that review one more time and just show people what we're talking about with like the red? Cool. Awesome. Love it. Okay, Alyssa, if we put audio in our gallery with the music, will the music continue to loop when it ends? Yes, it will. It certainly will. Rio, will other users, but also Alyssa, just to go back, I would test it and make sure. I mean, that's according to our testing, that's what we experienced, but I would test it. Rio, will other users be able to hear the sound when someone plays a video? Okay, yes, they will. Okay, Jessica, in Hubs, you can add a video as an avatar. We're all, will our avatars have that power? In Hubs, you can add a video as an avatar. That's cool.
Oh, sorry, I have a mic now. So if you go into Hubs, you can actually place a video and pin it in place. Are we going to be able to do that, or are you guys going to turn off those permissions for us? I don't know, like if we have special permissions other than like the people who just enter as a customer, or how that's going to work.
So I think are you referring to like when you enter, how at the top there's that nav bar and the far left you can turn the video on? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but also you can pin, like I was able to pin a YouTube video on the screen and people visiting my room were able to see it.
And when you say, so you're not talking about the area I'm talking about, you're talking about someplace, about bringing in a YouTube video someplace else.
Yes. I'm trying to remember how I did that, but I do not have it.
When you say you pinned it, so then you were in Hubs as an avatar and you somehow imported in a YouTube link.
Yeah. And it popped up like a little screen and played the video in the middle of the room, and I could place it wherever I wanted.
That's really
yeah. So I was thinking of doing that because I don't have all of my images ready, and I was leaving a space in my gallery open to place that, and I wasn't sure if that would be turned off.
You know what you could do? You could, so I know as we talked about, the YouTube links are kind of a little dodgy with Hubs, but Vimeo does work pretty, they do say that it is supported for Vimeo. Honestly, what I would do is if I would set up a Vimeo account and come up with a link for a video, and that video you can update with your images and embed that link into your gallery. That's how I would solve that problem personally. I'm just not aware of the functionality you're talking about, and the functionality that you're talking about does worry me, and something that I do not think we would allow anybody to do.
Okay, because I think
do not want any outside videos showing.
Yeah, I do think that is an option. So I wasn't sure if it was going to be turned off for everyone and left on for the artists, or.
That's a great question. I think we would probably turn that off. I know that we are kind of in some debates right now about that camera up at the top, and it is our hope, no promises, but it is our hope to leave the camera on only for the artisan, but for no one else. In that event that you do want to present yourself forward facing, then you could do that. But again, that's something that we do not want. We probably would not have that on for kids, for kid work.
Okay. I found out how I was able to do that. If you're in Hubs, at the bottom where the chat screen is, there's a little magic wand next to the paper airplane, and it says create object once you click on it, and it allows you to enter a link, and that's how I was able to get the image or the video to play.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say we're gonna find that and turn that off. Turn off.
Okay. Let's hope for the best.
Yes, we do not want any external videos popping up in anyone's galleries at any time.
Okay.
Even though I appreciate the power of good that you were looking to use it for.
Thank you.
Thank you for just bringing that to our attention, Jessica, so I can make sure. I'm sure our developers might already be aware of that, but just in case, because we're learning this program too, and there's still a lot that we have no clue the power that it has, which is exciting and terrifying, but exciting. Awesome. Are you guys checking out, Lara? Bye. Okay, great. Okay, so fantastic. I think we covered all of our questions.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeannie, if you wanted the final answer about the file size. It looks like it does not affect the exported file size to hubs in terms of loading a video. I loaded a pretty substantial video, so it looks like it did not affect that file size. Did you want me to still present there and just to go over what those look like?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Sure.
And that's good news. That's good news, Sarah, too. Sarah, how large was your MP4 that you uploaded?
Giant. This is the, I don't know, I think it was something like 100 megabytes or something like that. Yeah, this was our video that demonstrates what the experience is like in an artisan gallery that we use to post on social media and kind of get people excited about the festival. So it's a fairly substantial file size. But it looks like, are you able to see my folk?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so you'll see here that it really didn't change anything from the initial template specs that exist. If you were to do nothing to the template, it looks like it's the same as if you were to do nothing when I added that video file. And these are the specs that I think we're after, certainly with the template, and that everybody should be aiming for, that we don't want these to run into the red. I think there was one that was poor on even the yellow, which I think might have been the lights and maybe the polygon counts. We don't even want those to go into the yellow, and I don't quite remember the full specs, Angela. So maybe you can detail what those are, what those recommendations are. But looks like that adding that video didn't make much of a difference.
Oh, it looks like Jeannie's got a really cool comment. Let's see. Jeannie says, I found that as long as the ratio of the video was under 20 by 48 by 20 by 48, it will take a video. I wanted to know if the video would work after exporting. Cool. That's some really great data. Fantastic.
Jeannie, was that a question about whether or not the video would work after you export to hubs, if it would play? Is that a question?
Yeah, it's kind of a question. I had made my Kid Row Artisans gallery for her with a cute little video, and we tested it, and everybody loved it, and it was great. Then I exported it, and I thought I would use it as my own template to start mine. And the video said it wasn't working when I uploaded to start out my gallery. So I was concerned that maybe it wouldn't show up when I export it and send it off to you.
Have you exported it and then put it into Hubs to test out that way?
Yes, sorry, I have a child in the background.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
Yes, I have tested it in Hubs.
Oh, and I'm sorry, you said that the test did not work in Hubs. Is that what you were saying?
It did work in Hubs, and I exported it, downloaded it so that I would be able to email it. Then I went and opened that file to use as a template for my gallery, so I don't have to rebuild everything. and it said the video link was broken. So I was a little bit worried that maybe when you guys get it, it might be broken too.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, right, because it's not linked to your user account, probably. I wonder if like when you upload the file that way, if it's somehow, I don't know though. I mean, you'd think the images would react the same way if that's the case. Yeah. You know, Jeannie, if you want to email us that question, I would be happy to see if our dev team can come up with a solution for you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Cool. If you don't mind emailing us at virtualgallery@craftlakecity.com, and I will go ahead and type that in the chat for you right now. Yeah, that's interesting. If for some reason we can't figure that out, the other option would be uploading it to Vimeo and then posting that link that way. Great. Any other questions from everyone? It's about 7:18. We've gone about 20 minutes over, but we're happy to stay a few more minutes. If anyone has any questions, we want you to feel supported and feel empowered and feel excited at galleries tomorrow. Cool. Any comments? Anything anyone would like to share with the group? Any wins? Okay. Well, I think that's a wrap. Sarah, would you like to say any closing comments?
No, I just, to echo what you were saying earlier, this it's like amazing to see all of the creativity and the ingenuity that you all are making. Of course, not surprising since you're DIYers, but it's just been awesome. And this hasn't, been an easy process. I know it's challenging, and you guys overcame and have made some great stuff. So it's just awesome to see.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you so much for your time tonight, for volunteering to be here to help lead this group. And it was a pleasure to answer all of your questions to the best of our ability. I know there's still a few hanging out there that we will answer tomorrow. And thank you again for everything and being part of this and supporting us during this transitional period, and believing in us and our platform, and so much that you're taking time to learn a new skill and doing it yourself. It is a DIY festival after all, so we love that you embrace our spirit, and we can't wait to see you in just a couple weeks. So if you guys have any other questions, please reach out. You're welcome to reach out to me personally, Angela at craftlakecity.com, or of course through the virtual gallery email. I spend a lot of time in there these days as well. So we look forward to talking with you all more. Cool. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great night. Bye.